Right, so it's currently the 14th of July, 2024. Lesson 269. Most people have super generic faces. Like if you look at good-looking people, they sort of have generic faces. Whereas if you look at people with unique faces, like Kanye has a pretty weird, different face. Casey Neistat has a pretty different face. Andrew Tate's face is quite unique, very different. So I should start embracing how I don't know anyone that sort of looks like me. Like I have a very, I don't know how to describe it. It's like I'm like a bit boxy. I got like a sort of bigger nose. I'm more darker skin for Vietnamese, and my hair sort of it sticks out but grows forward. Like my face is quite not like I don't fit. It's hard to sort of guess my ethnicity. Um, and I think this is something I want to start embracing rather than sort of like insecurely being like, man, I look a bit weird. Lesson 270. Playing music is a great way to tap into how you're currently feeling. Tap into how you're currently feeling. What I like to do is I like to play music, use that as a catalyst to tap into how I'm feeling, pause the music, and just feel and process that emotion, that feeling that I'm feeling, and process it in silence. Whereas people would continually play the music and sort of now you're sort of torn between listening and vibing to the music to feeling that emotion that's bubbling up within inside you. So sit in it with silence and use music as a catalyst to unlock how you feel. Lesson 271. There's three types of relationships. A, 1 plus 1 equals 1.5. B, 1 plus 1 equals 2. And C, 1 plus 1 equals 3. So there's people who spend time with and you just get drained, you get like exhausted, you're not really yourself. You sort of, it ends up being like 1 plus 1 equals 1.5, where there's actually like a net loss. Then there's people that are sort of neutral, like they're themselves, you're yourself, but you're not really boosting each other up. That's where 1 plus 1 equals 2. But then the relationships you should be looking for is a relationship where you spend time with that person, and after the call, you feel like you have more energy, you feel more happy, you feel more sort of confident. And then you do the same for the other person. That's where you have a relationship where 1 plus 1 equals 3. Lesson 272. If you are a special person, most people are going to be intimidated by you. And you're going to have to do this thing where you have to open up, talk to them, show that you're this empathetic, down to earth, relatable person, and really go out of your way to prove to this person you're not this sort of person on a pedestal that they think you are. But what I've realized is that it's not worth going through all that effort to prove to someone and show them that, hey, I'm approachable, I'm kind, I want to listen to you. I'm not this sort of person on this pedestal. I'm not this sort of CEO, owner of a company. I'm just like you. I feel like that requires a lot of energy and it takes a lot of effort. and it's not really appreciated that much. Whereas I'm now starting to use that intimidation as a way to filter for people. Because the people that will communicate with me are the people that are on the same wavelength, and they can see instantly, hey, this one, they're not scared to say hi, but the moment they say hi, they can instantly see that, hey, I'm this relatable, normal, down to earth person. Those are the type of people that I want to attract because it doesn't require any energy of me going out of my way, approaching, saying hi, trying to prove to them that, hey, I'm a nice person. So I'm gonna start. So I'm gonna stop trying to prove myself to people who may think I'm this sort of like successful CEO entrepreneur that is sort of really has high standards and has an ego. Like, if that's what someone perceives me as, I'm not going to put in effort to try to change their perception and put in effort to show them who I truly am. Because even if I do and it's successful, that relationship is going to be quite fruitless because they're not going to, because of that initial intimidation, they're subconsciously going to reject most of your invites. Lesson 273. Your rejection slash acceptance percentage is totally dependent on the DNA of the people that you're reaching out to, that you're inviting. It has nothing to do with, I guess, this this sort of, I guess, is in contrary to my last note, but I guess the similarity, but has nothing to do with intimidation, different status, different level, different culture. Or maybe it is, but the reason why my friend has a high acceptance rate when he invites his group of friends to things, because they're all of the same DNA. Whereas if I go ahead and invite that same group of friends to something I'd want to do, I'm going to get a lower acceptance rate. Even if I invite them to the exact same thing that my friend did. So the person that's doing the invite, because people accept not because of the not because of the activity, but because of the person who invited them, and they're putting their mind, okay, do I want to spend time with this person? They're not thinking, do I want to do this activity? And because there's a difference in DNA, in sort of, I guess, culture, there's going to be a lower acceptance rate. So when you find your tribe, a group of people with your DNA, it's just going to be nothing but yeses, yeses, yeses. I'm down. Let's do it. Let's go. And I've seen that from my friends and their group of friends. And I'm in a unique scenario where I don't really have a group of friends. I have like these five, six individual friends with their own group of friends. And I guess something I do want to try is like, what happens if I invite that those five, six individuals to something I'd want to do? That's definitely something I'd want to test to see my acceptance rate. But the moment I realize that, hey, I'm being rejected because not because of me, but it's because I don't have the DNA of that group. Like each one of my seven friends, they're like seven different nations, seven different tribes. And the leaders of those tribes sort of share a bit of an overlap in DNA and sort of compatibility with me, but their sort of group has like half the correlation of them. So I'm starting to get more clarity behind sort of inviting people to things, building a tribe, why people would reject, etc. Lesson 274. It's pretty cool to know that during a moment of war, a moment where I need a lot of people, I could simply call on the seven or so satellite friends, sort of tribe leaders, and with their help, each one of them can bring 10 of their own friends from their own tribes who I already know. Like, I know their friends know me. So if I really need it, I can literally reach out to, say, seven of these tribe leaders that I'm really close with, that I spend a lot of time one-on-one with. And if I'm like, hey, I need some people, they can easily reach out to their own tribe. And all of a sudden, we've got 70 people at this sort of rally I need them for. And they all know me. Like, I know each person and 10, like, I know their friends. So, yeah, lesson 275. I've always wanted an older brother that I could bring my girl to, or bring my friends, my peers to, and they'd be impressed by him. They'd impress, they'd be impressed that, like, hey, like Andy has this older friend that is super cool. Like the fact that this super cool person is close with Andy, like that's cool. Like I wanna, like it makes me look good. Not only that, but my older brother, my older friend, when I bring them to him, he's gonna make me look good, whether he has a cool house, he's sort of giving everyone snacks, he's just being a good host. And in doing so, he's coming in with the mentality that he's here to make me look good, care for me, not trying to lead the night, allowing me to continue leading the night because I'm bringing my group of friends, and he's just able to play support and go with the flow and sort of bring to the table what's needed. So the older brother that I always wished I had would need to have the empathy to know that this is Andy's night, this is Andy's friends, and he needs to intentionally be making my friends feel comfortable, making them feel seen, making sure that, like, hey, if I make Andy's friends feel seen and comfortable, it's gonna make Andy look really good. Similar to like a parent situation. Whenever I go to a friend's house, I always want to go out of my way to say hi to their parents because by doing so, I'm showing the mum of my friend that he has a good friend, that is respectable, that is going out of his way to introduce himself. And that's going to make my friend look good in front of his mum. Lesson 276. I'm starting to see the fact that my satellite friends, sort of these tribe leader friends that I spend a lot of one-on-one time with, the fact that they only invite me to things that are worth it is a good thing. Like they would only invite me to things that are worthy, whether it's a milestone, a sort of 25th birthday, 30th birthday, when they're sort of putting together like like a house party rather than just like a normal catch-up dinner. And I think I need to see this as a good thing because prior I used to feel bummed out like, hey, all my friends, they do all these different things. I'm not invited. But I think I should actually be honored that, hey, they're only inviting me to things that they feel like is worth it and it's going to be worth my time. They respect my time. And I need to be viewing it from that perspective. And at the same time, it's good because I'm starting to learn to love my time alone again. I'm getting back to where spending time alone is much better than being invited to some random catch up after, OzTag. Lesson 277. My theory about doing things where I can't predict the outcome of really matches this story I heard. I heard about it was on My First Million. They were talking about meeting this 19-year-old VC in San Francisco. So this young phenom, and everyone was like, man, this kid is going to be the next big thing. 5 years later, the kid sort of is, instead of having this like this sort of upward trajectory, he's sort of still hovering where he is. And they're like, hey, like, why do you think this kid, despite being a phenom, despite having so much attention, why didn't he just sort of accelerate? And the guy answered windows and doors. The kid was only willing to do things where he could see through the window. Whereas the successful people open up doors. Doors are a risk because you don't know what's on the other side. And I've luckily optimized my life against predictability, against the window. I'm always going for the door. I'm always doing the thing where I can't predict the outcome. So I'm very, very glad that my current worldview on deciding if I should do something or not aligns with this story because I'd hate to be that 19-year-old phenom that just plateaued. Lesson 278. When I was in my mid-teens, I was playing a lot of Maple Story, this MMO RPG game. And I used to like to do this thing called merching, buying and selling things in the game. And I got so addicted, so into it that every time I was bored, every time I was sitting on the toilet, I'd be like, how can I make some more money? What can I trade? What should I do? What's my next move? Where can I buy this scroll? Should I create a new account to get a scroll so I can sell it to make an extra 7 mil in the game? Like I was always thinking it'd be like because my mum would restrict how many hours I could actually play the game or use the computer. Like I'd play the game in my head and it was fun. It was like a dopamine hit. And I still catch myself doing that till this day. Like I realize it's a defense mechanism. Whenever I'm sort of going through pain or feeling down, I close my eyes, I'm like, how can I make some more money? I think of my company, I think of different things I could do. I think of my e-commerce businesses, I think of my YouTube channel. But, and it's a bad habit, but it's when I was young, I did it to fight boredom. I did it to fight the feeling of like, man, like I'm a bit bored right now. And now I sort of do the same thing when I'm bored or when I'm feeling down or I want to distract myself, when I'm sort of washing dishes, when I'm, air frying some chips and I'm setting it up. I ask myself the question like, how can I make some more money? And it's just a defense mechanism because it's harder to just feel what I'm feeling in the present moment. That is much more difficult than visualizing and playing and brainstorming in my brain how I can make more money. So I think I need to sort of, and it's also a distraction for hope. Like I'm distracting myself with the hope of like, making more money will solve a lot of my current problems. So I'm sort of like trying to distract myself with hope rather than just sort of sitting and feeling how I'm feeling, whether it's exhaustion, whether it's anxiety, whether it's lack of confidence. Really feeling that, that's the healthier option. Lesson 279. A rejection from a girl hurts not because you lost that girl and sort of she rejected you and you feel sort of like not worthy, but the thing that hurts more is that you've lost that potential of what could have been. The fairy tale that you've built up in your head. As guys, I think guys do this quite often where you meet a girl and all of a sudden you're just like envisioning your whole future with that girl, having kids, getting into a relationship, spending every night together. And I think the rejection hurts because that fairy tale that you built up, that sort of like 20 years of being together, of what could have been, is now lost. And I think that hurts way more. And I think that's the reason why it hurts. Um, because when I get rejected, I'm still pretty confident in the person I am. I know I bring value to the table. I know I'm a kind person. I know that people that matter, they value me. So my confidence isn't really hit. Sort of losing the girl, like I come in, like I meet so many people in my life that losing one person doesn't really make a difference. I think the loss of what could have been, that hurts the most. Um, Lesson 280. As much as you want to call a friend to vent, to complain, to get some reassurance, don't. Retrieve and deal with the pain on your own. Process it and feel it all on your own. That is the best way to deal with pain, especially if you are a leader. Lesson 281. I was just thinking about how a lot of creatives, a lot of musicians, artists, a lot of them are depressed. A lot of them go through depression. And I do realize I've been feeling much, much more down as I've been focused on creativity, creating high quality content, creating pieces of art that is evergreen. And it also gave me a bit of insight on, wow, I understand why my editors might not be as consistent as I want them to be, or why my editors, it's hard to retain them. I think there's something here about doing creative work is spiritually and mentally draining. Hence, a lot of creative people are often depressed. And I'm starting to understand because I've been just exhausted and down over the last 2, 3 weeks. And it definitely matches with when I started going hard on creating beautiful pieces of content that I'm proud of. So I don't know the solution yet. That's something I'll have to think about because I'm only realizing the problem, but hopefully in a few weeks' time, I can come up with a lesson with the solution to this. Lesson 282. A bad mushroom trip is just a mushroom helping you let out, unlock all that downness, all that depression, all that sadness that you've been bottling up. It opens it up and it brings it to the surface. So that bad trip you're having, without the mushroom, just sober, eventually that can of worms would have opened up on its own and you would have had a bad trip sober. So my hypothesis and guess is that because the mushroom can't generate bad feelings, negative thoughts out of thin air, it has to come from somewhere. Like even if you're sort of a bit nervous one night, you have a bit of anxiety, the mushroom can't amplify that. It can't, if you're feeling a level of 5 anxiety, the mushroom can't give you more anxiety and make that a 10. It's going to make you really feel that 5 because most people go through life without feeling their emotions. They push it down, they distract themselves with Netflix, YouTube, TikTok. So a bad trip, I feel like, is just the mushroom bringing up what is already in you. Lesson 283. A true leader looks after their friends' friends. As a leader, not only do I look out for my friend, but I look after my friends' friends. I make sure that they're always safe. I try to hook them up. I try to give them a good experience. I try to look out for them. And I think that's what a leader does. And often it feels very fruitless. It's like, man, like I, already like I'd rather put all my helping to just my friend. But like when I'm sort of helping my friends' friends, it feels fruitless because like it's not gonna it feels like it's not gonna come around. It feels like because I only meet them once, twice, 3 times a year. Like how can it come back around? But I think I just need to have faith. And if I look at it logically, like all that good karma, it goes up, it goes upstream. Like my friend can see that, wow, let's say my friend's friends are looked after, they say good things about me, then my friend is hearing this and he, I guess, gives back to me somehow. But I feel like it's not as fruitless as I think. And let's say it is. Let's say there's zero ROI, return on investment on helping your friends' friends. That's what it takes to be a leader. Giving without expecting anything in return, but also giving knowing that you're not going to get anything in return. When a leader donates money to, I don't know, when a king donates money to like a peasant that's like on the street, he knows he's not going to get a return on that. He just gives. And I think that's what it takes to be a true leader. And people see that, people sense it. You're doing it for yourself. I'm building character by helping my friends' friends. And that's the ROI, the character that you build, the person you become, a person that gives to their friends' friends, knowing that nothing is going to come back, is a very like cool person. It's a person that your friend wants to spend time with. So become the true leader that looks after their friends friend. They're friends. Lesson 284. I've not met a person who has consistently reached out and consciously stayed in my life, not live a good life of upward trajectory growth. Whereas the people that fell off from my life, people that really didn't consciously put in effort to be in my life, when I look at their life has been pretty much the same as we last spoke many years ago. Just an interesting fact. I don't know what it means. If I were to process, like, is it because people who stay in my life grow? Is it because the trait of realizing that, hey, like, this is a person I do want to spend time with? Having that trait allows these people, these friends of mine to grow. I don't know what it is or what I can read from this fact, but the fact is that's the fact. So yeah, that is another week's worth of lessons. I had fun. Hope you guys got some value, and I'll see you guys next week on another episode. We're coming up to lesson 300. Peace.